Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome to this webinar on Elevate Your Product Packaging. This webinar is brought to you by DBohra in collaboration with Atal Incubation Center of Central Coffee Research Institute. And today, as a part of that initiative, we have with us Mr. Naipal Singh, who's the Regional Manager of Business Development and Sales India at HP India Sales Pvt Ltd. Now, before we deep dive into the webinar, I'll take a couple of minutes and then it's all onto Mr. Naipal. I'd like to start by quoting the design and packaging legend Steve Jobs. He said that packaging has the ability to tell a brand story, and of course we see that happening in real time by brands like Apple. And good packaging can make or break your product, right? And today's webinar is about how can you use your product packaging as a differentiator and make it your edge in the market. And આ webinar વાસ્તે આપના સાથે જે Mr. Naipal join થયા છે, I'll just give his quick brief introduction. So as I said that he's the regional manager of business development and sales at HP, and he has about 10 years of experience in this domain, building brands, building their packaging, helping startups and MSMEs in this various sectors. So and he's a speaker at various events, various conferences, various B schools, and carries a lot of experience on his shoulder. So without further ado, I would like to pass on to Mr. Naipal. And the format of the session will be that apne good 45 minutes our slides nanda go through karshu, and then you feel free to drop in your questions, but we shall be doing the consolidated question answers at the very end, જેના પર આપણે 15 to 20 minutes spend કરશો. Now, if at any point of time a question ના અંદર આપનો question answer નહીં થાતું, so we will also be giving you access to a form in which you can share your feedback as well as questions, so which we can get back to you after the webinar is over. So yes, with that, over to you, Mr. Naipal.
Thank you, Amar, and thank you, DBohra community, for taking this initiative. Like Amar said, I am working with HP since last 10 years. And when we say HP here, so I just want to make one clarification, because when I say HP, a lot of time, the first thing which comes in our mind is the laptop, HP laptop or HP printer. So I am from the same company, as you see the logo, HP, but I come from the industrial printing division. And in that industrial printing division, we do manufacture presses which are for a particular industries or various industries. And this is where our relation with the packaging is, that we sell these digital printing machines to the packaging printers in country and across the world. So today we have more than 6,000 presses across the world and more than 40 presses along only in packaging in India. So with this, I would want to start on this topic, and I think I would want to start with the question that, so if I ask you all that, when that was the last time that you bought something because packaging made you to buy that product? And this keeps happening with me. Today I was again in the morning, I went to a shop and I saw a coffee pack and I happened to pick it up. So, and I think this must be also happening with most of you. So packaging is an interesting subject to cover, and then the packaging also has different dimensions. One from that, which we will cover in this session today, that how brands can elevate their packaging, and especially why this packaging can help you to sell more, can help you to grow your brand. So if I want to talk about very particularly on this presentation, so what I will be covering in this almost 1 hour session. One, why packaging matters, because today there are certain trends, today there are certain changes which is happening globally, worldwide, and also the consumer is also changing. So we will cover those certain trends, that why packaging matters in that change scenario. And then again, what are the certain uh, technologies, innovations happening across worldwide, and then very particularly we will deep dive into that how digital packaging makes a lot of sense to the startups, SMEs, and the new age of the brand, where they have a certain challenge, and how this helps them to come through those challenges. And at the end, I would be also taking you through that how the different brands, how the different startups have been utilizing this, and this had helped them to grow their brand. So, like I said, in 10 years or 12 years of experience, I had worked with the larger brands, small brands, you can name like Nestle, Coca-Cola, all of those, discovering only one truth, or let's say one point, that how packaging is it just a box, or that packaging is not only act as a box, it is a kind of movement, which is, and this is where we talk about the opening experience and all those experiences. So packaging becomes experience. Packaging is also not what I particularly say, that this is a kind of psychology, right, which is a color psychology which is printed over the surface. And it's also kind of a silent conversation which is happening with your consumer, which you even have not met. So that's where a packaging plays a very vital role. And actually, I had this slide, but this slide we can't play the video. But the slide talks about that video is, we are saying the packaging has a lot of importance, but what if packaging goes wrong? And that video actually talks about that. Imagine a world where you have a product, and that product has a packaging which is kind of a role. So the first role of the packaging is to protect the product, or like convenience. And all those product has that sort of packaging, which is means a shampoo is packed in a bottle, and possibly in the same bottle you have also packed the let's say the soft drink, cold drink. But how would you recognize that what is there inside that product? So that video depicts about that what happens with the consumer when your packaging goes wrong. And this is where we come up with the concept that what is the right packaging, and to call out any packaging is a right packaging, that packaging has a certain roles to do. And I think the first one, which even the video has, that the first role is to pack it, which is like protection, or like giving a shelf life. And this is where the very basic role of the packaging starts. Then it comes to the convenience parts, and then this is where you see that a lot of brand starts making a difference. And I always talk about a particular story from the India. So there is a new age brand called Paperboat in India. And when they put up this packaging, which was like a kind of sprout packaging, where people can hold a pouch in their hand, and they get a certain convenience to hold it, and then they can use it over their travel and this. And that's where made this brand successful in India. And then you see the new age brand where they move from a convenience to experience. So our 70 to 80% presentation is based on that, the experience part, how packaging can give a certain experience to consumer. And then packaging not only being the part of your protection, but how packaging can also play a role of becoming a marketing tool for a lot of brands. Because like I said, that today I speak to many institutes like IIM, NSR Cell, and day before yesterday I was in Kerala Global Hurdle event with the Kerala Startup Mission. So you end up meeting a lot of startups there, and their primary requirement is that these startups have certain challenges, which we'll talk in detail, and primary one is the funding one. So then how do they utilize every bit of their money? And this is where they also need to consider packaging as their marketing tool. So coming back to our talk track where that why packaging is important or why packaging matters. So think about that you have a product, and in that case the product which is packed in a certain packaging, it is kept in a store. So when somebody is entering into a store, what will be his first impression? So the first impression or the first introduction and let's say first conversation, what your consumer is going to have with your packaging, not with the product certainly. But the question is, today the world is changing very fast. Consumer attention span is getting very shorter, which means the consumer attention span is, let's say, 3 to 7 seconds. So when the product is kept on a shelf, or let's say product is on online, you get a certain 3 to 7 second time period in which consumer looks at your product, or whether he looks at a competition product. So in that scenario, packaging is kind of a first impression. And then it also starts acting as a silent salesperson. How does it do? Because once it has possibly got the consumer attention, then consumer will pick up that. And just imagine, let's say you are talking about your product. How do you start? You start that my product comes from this certain product category. My product comes from this certain origin. You talk about that, why did you start this product? You talk about how authentic is this product. You talk about what is the story behind that. And this is where this all information today is getting captured to your packaging, and your packaging starts acting as a silent salesperson. So, and then once somebody goes through all those details and he says, okay, I find that this product looks good for me, and that's where they start building a trust with the consumer. So that's how the process adds, and this is how it continues. And then the second thing, what we are talking about here is very particularly how a packaging will drive a certain consumer purchase decision. And that is now backed up with the data. With both the numbers which I'm sharing, you can go on to your internet research. So today 70% purchase decisions are being made and in the store on the shelf, which are being driven by. So आपके 70% जो डिसीजन आपके कंज्यूमर आज ले रहा है, कहीं ना कहीं उसका आपका एक इम्पैक्ट होता है पैकेजिंग का, उसको डिसाइड करने के लिए कि ये आपका प्रोडक्ट चूज करेगा कि फिर वो दूसरा प्रोडक्ट चूज करेगा. And the another number which is the 59%, which is brand switching. And I think all of us want, because if we are thinking of coming up a new product category, if we are thinking of coming up a new product, अगर हम लोग ऐसा सोच रहे हैं, so this is the number which can help us. But ये number हमें कैसे help करेगा? So this says that 59% brand switching happens because of somebody liked your packaging and packaging is saying pick me up. And this is where like I said before, the packaging becomes a tool to drive a sales or to drive a growth for your product. And the another element which is very, I would say it is getting picked by any marketer today, that packaging is also becoming a tool to tell up your brand story. And this is the beautiful one which I had kept it here. So this is story, a small coffee brand, but also not so small. Today they are available on internet. This is incubated by Coffee Board of India, and they tell their story very beautifully. And what they talk about that how their founders started this brand, what is their background, what is their mission, how they're making this brand is the more, let's say, more authentic, how they are, what are the certain sustainable practices behind this brand. But this all is being told, making packaging as a one of the medium. And this is where I'm saying why packaging can deliver all those messages, all those stories which you want. So packaging also is can become a very important tool to tell your story. And like I said, there are different ways to tell the story. Somebody will pick up the origin story, somebody say mission driven story, which is where you say that like we have a mission that we would want to work onto the improvement of this certain community, or like create a employment for this community. This could be also behind the scene content, like I said, what are the sustainable practices they're doing it, and founder photo, founder stories, all those stories. This is where it helps you to tell your consumer story. Okay, so another one which is very important in today scenario, and we are talking about an India context. So again, if we talk about D2C, because when we do this presentation, so a lot of startup and a lot of SMEs, when we meet, so their first approach is that I will create a brand, I will sell it on D2C. But in D2C, your market is already very much cluttered. There are more than 40,000 brands which are fighting with each other. And then in India, the story is becoming more interesting when you have a quick commerce, and then a lot of brands are finding that this is a tool. So certainly the market has from the offline channel, it has moved to the D2C, and then it is what we're talking about, the quick commerce. And in that case, at least in a store, you have a flexibility. When somebody will pick up your product, he will at least realize that what is the quality of this product from there is coming. But in scroll, it is very difficult. So this is where, if let's say there is a 10x attention has to be given in case of your general trade, in D2C and e-commerce, you will possibly have to give 100x attention to work on packaging, which can attract the consumer, and it makes consumer not to scroll your product, to buy your product. So this is where if D2C is your consideration, e-commerce is your consideration, then it becomes, let's say, 100x more important for you to focus on your packaging. And then what comes is Gen Zs, right? So I would say, I always make this point. I say, if now understanding that why packaging matters or why packaging is important, and you want to work on your packaging, you need to consider two factors. One, who is your consumer? And then what are the certain packaging trends or global packaging trends which are driving those decisions? If we understand well, because I read somewhere, if why is done, how is easy, right? So why we should do it. And this is where understanding the consumer, which is where, and if I'm talking about in the India context, so today 65% of the Indian generation is the Gen Zs and millennials. And what they do, what they like, so they are completely experience driven, which means a packaging or a product which is shareable, which can be shared on social media, which can be authentic, which has a sort of clickable, like if they share it, they post it, they value it more. They are not brand loyal, but they are the experience loyal. So today, a lot of brands are considering this fact. They are focusing on that how they can come up with more and more experience driven, instead of, because what brands are finding that if a certain experience is given, they switch very easily. So it is becoming more challenging for them. And another kind of trait, or let's say their behavior, is uniqueness. So if they look for experience which is completely unique, and I'll have some example which I will talk about it. So because somewhere they have been born, they have been raised in that feeling that yes, everyone has their own capability, everyone is unique in a way. And when I keep saying that there is a unique capability, or he is a unique in way, so what it starts reflecting in their behavior, that they are looking for the products which is unique, so they kind of relate with that. And again, which is sustainability, socially aware. There is research says that they value the brand, or they value the products which are designed for the sustainability, which are kind of good for the society. And like I said, the second factor is global packaging trends, and what is forcing them, which is the personalization. So everyone loves personalization, and personalization is around today $150 billion opportunity. And when I'm talking about personalization, I will talk in the further slide. I'm not talking about a personalization where I make one product for each one of you. No, I make one product, but it sort of connect with 100 of you. That's the personalization which I'm talking about here. And the sustainability. So the one of the research which says that products which are marketed sustainably, they grow 7% faster. And what is sustainability in packaging? Certainly, we'll talk in the upcoming slides. Speed to market. Speed to market is something, an event happened today, and how a brands starts capitalizing on that, which means can you make certain changes in your product, which is like the very common word is agility, which how agile you are in that case. And the last one is the storytelling. And here now, there's a very common saying that this is not the product what sells, it is actually the story sells. And this is what I also explained in the previous slide, that how storytelling is becoming more important. Of course, so with this, I come to the next slide, and I always make a point to keep this slide that we talk all about this. But the one question which comes when I am a small, or I am a startup, I am a small business, or I'm just starting my journey towards my product. So the bigger constraint for me is like high MOQ. So which is where, like, when I'm a small business and I reach out to anybody, he says, yes, I can do it, why not? But this is my MOQ. So, and this is where put a lot of constraint to the startup and small businesses, and they kind of they make some mistakes. We'll come to that. The cost is a barrier. Somebody says that, okay, I can do it small quantities also, but somehow this will be the initial investment which you have to make it, and then it becomes very expensive affair and a lot of time. We drop that idea as that. Fear of experiment is something like, let's say today I made one design, and I go with the somebody who I know, and he says, okay, beautiful, I can make it, but you will have to print let's say 1 lakh pouch initially, or let's say 10,000 pouch initially. But what happens if tomorrow there is some certain changes, there is something I want to make a change in the design? So better I possibly skip this idea and I go with the very basic packaging, and when everything goes well, I will possibly make my one. Cash flow pressure. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of startups which I work today, and there might be 100 of schemes running from the government. There are a lot of funding agencies, there are a lot of funding programs from the government, but most of them who comes and they start their business, they start first from their own money, and which is where they have a lot of I would not say challenges, but a lot of them start with a very small, and they want to keep their budget minimum, and they're very conscious. And what happens that if I have a, let's say, 2 lakh rupees, and I just spend everything onto one element of my packaging, then, or one element of my product, then I don't have money left. So cash flow is a pressure. Pressure is always there with these guys. So how do we come out with these challenges? And sorry, I forgot, Amar. We agreed that I will have a Hindi also. So anyway, but okay. So challenges क्या है कि उसकी वजह से क्या होता है, because of that, because I don't have right information, मेरे पास awareness नहीं है कि मेरा packaging कैसे अच्छा हो सकता है या अच्छा पैकेजिंग से मुझे क्या इम्पैक्ट होने वाला है। दूसरा, मेरे पास काफ़ी लिमिटेड ऑप्शंस हैं। सो जनरली द स्टार्टअप्स एंड here we are talking about very basic people, where even let's say there is a housewife and she's very good at making dosa better, and she says I want to start business. So वो उनका प्रोडक्ट बहुत अच्छा है, बट चैलेंज क्या है वहाँ पे कि उनको जानकारी ही नहीं है कि मेरा पैकेजिंग कैसा होना चाहिए, अगर मुझे अपना पैकेजिंग अच्छा करना है तो किसको रीच आउट करना है. सो दे मेक सर्टन मिस्टेक्स एंड लाइक cheap material. So I won't say cheap, but it's kind of flimsy packaging material they will, because that's what is available for them, वही उनके लिए available है. And then because packaging is also mix of everything, and the design also doesn't look good, because again what happens that because of the limited availability what they have, and they will also print a lot of possibly they need only 1000 pouches or like maybe 100 boxes, but किसी ने बोला कि नहीं नहीं आपको तो प्लेट बनाना पड़ेगा, and then this is the minimum quantity, so they do it. वो over printing that happens, and that all leads to the poor branding, because branding is I think less, when I said that it's a mix of everything, it's how your color consistency, how is your product, so which kind of hamper their sales, and it's like it damage you. Packaging mistakes like more than your other things which is making an impact on this, so it kind of hamper your sales. Perception is not very right perception in the market, and this is what it happens. So everything said, the challenges are there, but the question is how do we come out, and this is where we kept the entire session. So how do we break that? So I want to work, I want to make my packaging world class, because if my packaging is great, my product will look stunning, it will get the consumer attention, it will help me to grow my brand. But how do we do it? So this is where I give all of you to give a consideration to a digital printing as a process, because when we are talking about in the context of small businesses, new businesses, and startup businesses, so this is a lot of about taking a first step. This is a lot about taking the minimum risk. This is about making the minimum investment initially, and digital printing is become an answer for that. And the question is, if I do shift it to digital, will I still get the quality what I get it in the traditional printing? Will I still be having a color consistency what I get it in the traditional printing? Will you have a same quality, color consistency, all those things? And in this case, what from the HP, what do we have in terms of digital printing is we work on this concept of digital offset. So when we say the digital offset, it is the offset kind of process, but your plate making process becomes sort of digital, where you don't need to make any plate or cylinder. So the one flexibility which we get it because of that, your time is reduced. So your time is reduced from 7 to 8 weeks to not even to the week. Even in case of labels, you can get it possibly next day or that. And then the ink combination which is used in the digital printing today is like there are 32 type of different inks, so which makes you which gives you surety, जो आपको एक तरह से which makes sure कि आपको जो क्वालिटी आपको ग्रेवियर में मिलता है या फिर दूसरी टेक्नोलॉजीज में मिलता है, उससे अच्छा आपको क्वालिटी मिलता है. एंड समटाइम आई थिंक इवन बेटर. टुडे वी हैव अ कैपेबिलिटी, और HP हैज अ कैपेबिलिटी वेयर समटाइम इवन वी कैन बी मच बेटर देन द ऑफसेट ऑफ द ग्रेवियर. So with this, how does it solve the problem of startups? Like I said, because in digital there is no plate used today, there is no cylinder used today, so your setup cost is very low. Very low means it's zero. So when in Flexo you make a cylinder, so you go to anyone, people say ठीक है हम लोग अभी प्लेट और सिलेंडर बनाएंगे, दिस इज वन टाइम कॉस्ट ओनली, बट आप इसको ओवर द ईयर यूज कर सकते हो, बट वो वन टाइम कॉस्ट इज लाइक अच्छा खासा है फॉर मी. सो but in digital that is not done. Then it also has because I'm not making any cylinder or plates, so the flexibility मेरे पास जो आता है वो ये आता है कि I can even have a unlimited design, and I will try to explain. So let's say I have 5 different masala product, and I need to print 1,000 pouch for each product. So what I'll do, I'll combine all 1,000 together, and I will print 5,000 pouch, and in that 5,000 pouch, I can combine my 5 variants. But in offset, when you make it, or let's not call it offset, but in graveyard, when you will make it, so you will have to make at least for one design certain quantity, and that certain quantity can vary from 10,000 pouches to maybe 40,000 pouches, 20,000 pouches. So this is where you get the flexibility of unlimited variants. Zero inventory process, everything is digital. If you don't want to keep the inventory for 10,000 pouches and you want to go with the, let's say, in a point that every month I want to keep updating my inventory, that's also possible. Even every 15 days you can print as per your volumes growth. The small batches, certainly it's possible. And for the digital, MOQ is one, but for the packaging, it can be a little higher, because when we talk about packaging, it is not only the printing, it is also the added finishing what they have. So that's where we can say that small batches, and we're talking about the quantity for the boxes, maybe 50 to 40, and for the label 100 for pouches, maybe even 500. So I always say start with the 500, but even if you want to make one, that's possible, but there is a certain cost for that. Okay, so like I said, how HP Indigo help in the entire journey of the packaging journey for the startup and SMEs. What I have seen over the years, when we start talking to the new startups and we do this session, we interact with them. The first requirement which they come, that I just want to make 50 or 100 packs, or let's say only 50 labels, 100 labels. So this is where they start utilizing this technology for their prototypes. And then they come up, okay, we have sent it to the market, feedback is great. Now we want to test the market, and can we go with the little higher quantity? And this is where the quantity comes to maybe 500, sometime 2,000. And then they see that the feedback is encouraging and market is looking forward for that product. And then they will go for the final launch. Quantity still can vary. It can be 1,000, it can be 5,000, it can be 3,000, depending on that. What I have also seen nowadays, that generally the perception is, अगर एक बार हम लोगों ने print किया on digital and then we want to larger quantity, then they will shift it to the graveyard. Yes, that happens certainly, but what I have seen कि किसी ने एक product launch किया, but अभी अगर मुझे scale करना है, तो I have two choices, that I go to the larger market size or I bring more products. And when you are adding more products, then again digital can be helpful, because आपने already you found the supplier to, let's say for coffee, what you need to fix your packaging, and then you have somebody who is doing the packaging for, let's say, for 20,000 rupees for your initial one. Then your another product is ready, then another product is ready. And today many brands in India are doing it. And to give you an example, this brand called Yoga Bar. Today, Yoga Bar is acquired by ITC, and at any point of time, you will see there are 30 to 40 products which are in pipeline, which they plan to launch in next 3 months or 4 months, and that's where they're scaling their business. So, the question which is generally asked to us, this is all said very nice, but how does actually works, and how the brand small, medium have utilized it. So this is a beautiful story, which is the first one for me, and I think since last 3 year even I'm talking about it. Uh, when I said that when we interact with the startup, जब हम लोग बात करते हैं, who are those? Who are basically these are the housewife. They are possibly not very good into their packaging knowledge in terms of material and all of those things. So this story actually is the same. जहाँ पे this Dr. Sangeeta Garg, she is from Mumbai. She is doctor by profession. We are not only talking about housewife, but when she launched her this better brand. So what are the choices we have? We have ID, we have this, and actually before 3 years it was only ID. So she said, the atta batter, this batters, dosa batters, which I am getting in market, it is not something I like, because I have a recipe which is very unique. So I would want to work on that as a business model. And typically she started the same way, where whatever pouch I have available, मैंने उसको पिक किया, उस पर अपना लेबल लगाया. बट उसके साथ कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स हैं. प्रॉब्लम्स क्या हैं कि आपका जब ये प्रोडक्ट मार्केट में जाएगा तो पहला तो ये ट्रांसपोर्ट में आपका लेबल डैमेज हो जाएगा, दूसरा फिर आपको सेल्फ लाइफ नहीं मिलेगा, और तीसरा जो सबसे ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लमेटिक है, जब आप इसको प्रोडक्ट को स्टोर में आप रखोगे तो क्योंकि हो सकता है स्टोर वाला आपकी जान पहचान वाला है, तो व्हाट ही विल डू, बोला ठीक है रखो, वेरी गुड. बट नेक्स्ट टाइम व्हेन यू विल गो देयर, व्हाट यू विल फाइंड कि आपका प्रोडक्ट सबसे नीचे है. सो दिस इज वेयर दिस चैलेंजेस शी वाज इवन फेसिंग. एंड देन we had worked with one of our customers who provide this service, who gives the packaging, who gives the designing, and then she had come up with the design which is onto your right side actually. And she had taken all the insights which we talked about, that story should come to the design, your packaging should give you the shelf life, what is required, it should give you sort of a sense of authenticity, and this is how this becomes a packaging, and which helped her to grow. These numbers are for that first year, where she said that in the first year I had grown over 600%. And today when you will go and search for this brand, they are not only in atta brand better or like this dosa better, they have many other such products. So I come to this slide and say, because people ask these questions a lot of time, and they say that is it affordable, is it how digital printing is it costly, and because those all questions comes. So for the small businesses, for the startups, or for the brands who wants to make a new launches, I think this is the best technology, because you have no challenge onto the MOQ, you have no challenge onto the capital, and then no plate. Those investment has to be made. And this is the perfect example. Wise Mama, this is the live brand, a brand from the millet, from our engagement with the Millet Institute. So what she started with this label. She grows little, then she goes to the pouch, and then she also looks for the opportunity which is in the corporate gifting, and this is where she comes. Everywhere she took approach that first I will start possibly 500, and today I'm happy that they are not with the one product, they possibly have more than 30-40 products with them. So in terms of the advantage of digital printing, I would say that it helps you to address all those trends, all those specific type of consumer, which is where we talk about personalization, which is where we talk about unmatched speed, which is we talk about sustainability and how it does. So this is not something new. There are many brands who are already using it. So if you will start using, you will find that this is, you don't have to worry about that the guideline for the food product, because Nestle is using, and today Nestle standard are the most stringent standard. You don't have to worry about the safety for the ink. There is already approval from FDA and all those which are very well known organizations in the world. And again, I will also explain what is sustainability in digital printing and how this technology is the most sustainable technology. So When I say personalization at scale, and I did say this when we are talking about the personalization, because if I do one personalization, does it make a business sense for me? इसमें business है क्या? Which is very difficult to answer. So what is personalization on a scale that let's say seasons, right? So there is a Christmas season coming. So in India, every time you have at least a good number of festivals which keep coming. So this is where the holiday campaigns are being planned, and Coca-Cola is our global partner who does it. But there also a startup who does it nowadays. And there is a regional campaigns customization. What is regional customization? So today there are certain campaigns which are only getting planned for, let's say for South. In South we have 4 different states again and 4 different languages. Personal campaign, personal connections, which is name, message, all those things. So how does it work actually? And actually, how did this work for the Coca-Cola? And I will explain about the first example, which is there where you see the names are written. So what happened that Coca-Cola was working on a certain insight to launch a campaign in the Europe market. And they did a research and they say, what does European are common, right? What do you see common in that? Because I need to make a campaign which will be kind of customized for that region. So what will make a difference? So when they did research, what they found that they kind of selected 100 common names, and this is where your name, which is James, Jack, this name they selected, and those 100 names they printed on a label and they put those label into the market. And what Coca-Cola saw in that particular quarter, they saw 3x growth. Because what is happening as a consumer behavior when somebody is going to the store, first he is not going to buy a Coca-Cola, but he saw his name, then he saw his friend name, then he saw his wife name. So he end up buying at least 3 instead of 1. So this is where it has given a 3x growth to the Coca-Cola, 3x उनको growth मिला. And the same campaign they also did in India. So what they did in India, when they came to India and they say we want to do a campaign, but do you think in India we can do campaign on a name? Because again नॉर्थ में नाम अलग है, आपका साउथ में अलग है, और साउथ में नाम इतना लंबा भी है कि आप उसको शायद प्रिंट भी नहीं कर पाएंगे. So what they did a campaign with the relationship. They say, okay, share a Coke with Papa, share a Coke with Mama, and this is how they capitalize on this trend, and it was very good for Coca-Cola.
Just a sec, Naipal. I think someone has messaged webinar has stopped, so I just want to take a quick audio and sound check with everyone else. Are we audible? Are we visible? Quick yes would be of help.
You're asking me? For me, it is.
And I think for everyone else also it's working fine. We can continue.
Okay, sure. Yes, okay, good. Okay, so, and like I said, when I'm talking about this personalization on scale and all of those things, and when I talk about the Coca-Cola story, so the first question which comes in the mind, this is great. The big brand can do it and they have money, they have a deep pocket. But can the small brand, can the startups do it? So this is where we are exactly talking about. We are saying that you plan a campaign and you can plan a campaign with the 500 pouches. And this brand which comes again, our engagement with the coffee board, this company called So Coffee. And when I was presenting, this gentleman was there and he heard the complete talk and he said कि मुझे कुछ करना है. I said, what do you want to do? So he said, I'm working on some concept where I would want to understand how can I talk about the ecosystem who has contributed to the growth of coffee and how can I celebrate that. So he said, okay. So I shared a video where that story was done particularly for the farmers, which is where because a lot of time everyone is talked about in the system, but the people who grow the coffee, they are not somewhere mentioned. So that he took an inspiration from that story and he come up with this concept. So today what he does, every month he goes to the small coffee state, or he goes to the coffee researcher, he goes to coffee grower, because he said that if the coffee has come to this level, it is not only the one element, or it is not only the one person who has played in that growth, it is entire ecosystem. I would want to capture that story and then put that story onto my coffee. So but see, think it's like what is the psychology here? He is not talking about his product at all. What he's talking about, he's talking about the ecosystem. So his product is never a center of the talk. It is the story, and then with that story, he's making inroads to the entire coffee market and being looked at differently. So this can help you to differentiate from your customer. This can help you to put or set apart from the common league. This one again, we can't play the video, but I will explain this because we have talked about one of the digital printing benefit, which is time to market or speed. This brand has picked up very well, and so if I ask you the question, how do you like the coffee? Fresh, right? But how do I communicate this? Through my packaging. Even I'm not saying about it that my coffee is fresh. Because if I will say, people will again not believe. People will say, why only yours? Others also is fresh. So they picked up that uh, element, and so this brand comes from Brazil, and in Brazil they were facing a certain challenge. Because they were very new age brand were coming, and the perception was being built that this coffee is not fresh. So what they did, they planned with the newspaper. So let's say tomorrow newspaper has to get printed. So they printed a same day packaging for their coffee, and then newspaper also go printed with the same headline. And with the coffee that day, the newspaper and coffee together gets delivered. So it helped brand a lot, because my coffee is as fresh as your newspaper. And they saw more than 1 million interaction, free media, everyone is talking about. And after that, nobody will say that this coffee is not fresh, like that. Sustainability, like I said, sustainability is not only to talk about today's sustainability from the angle of how the consumer is looking at it. Consumer certainly, like I said, there's the product which are marketed sustainably, they're 7% higher in the sales. There is also consumer love to buy today the brands which are doing for the society. And what is sustainability in packaging? Using recyclable materials, eco-friendly inks, and again, not printing something which is not required, or let's say not using which go to a landfill. So this is where sustainability is in packaging. But another dimension for the sustainability which I want to talk about is there are also, like, there is a usage of water, there is a usage of energy, and there is also how much photochemical do you generate during this process. So this case study was done with the life cycle assessment, where they had analyzed when let's say 3000 square meter or 5000 square meter job, when it is printed with the gray ware or with the offset or with digital, which is better in all of those parameters. And this is a very long research which is done, but the whole crux of this, let's say for the 3000 square meter job, it has 40 to 65% less environment impact compared to other technologies. So like I said when we started, certainly the packaging has a role to do. What is that? That it has to solve your functional problem, which is your shelf life and all of those things. It has to keep the product safe, it has to meet compliances, but the product packaging can also become a tool to promotion. And this is where given a consideration to the consumer choices, given a consideration to the certain trends, it can start helping you, and it can become a great marketing tool. And this is where it should do both. Technically, it should do the production, but it should also do a packaging promotion. This video will not play again the video, but again the video talks about that the package what you have in hand, it is not a tool to pack. It is a tool to tell your story. It is a tool to get a certain consumer attention from the market. It is a tool to put it like use it in a different ways to connect with the consumer, to make it a talk of the town, all those things. So with this, the final message which I want to leave all of you, that packaging is a silent salesperson, but let's make it active one, and let it work hard. So if he's a salesperson, you will certainly want that how he does a hard work so that it result to the numbers to for your business. And this is where I would end my presentation, Amma Bhai, and I think I've been on to the time what was given, and I would love to have questions from the audience if I can help them.
I think we have quite a few. First of all, thank you so much, Naipal, for taking us through this entire presentation. And we have quite a few questions. But before we jump onto that, something I have very handy on my work desk is this. So this is a name package which I picked up from my last trip in Iraq. And the best part, and something which I could relate to, that I picked it up because it had my name on it. Second, I kept as a souvenir because again it had my name on it, and it always acts as a brand recall. So I think it any such kind of personalization, hyper personalization, always has a long-term impact on your brand, and is definitely something which small, big, medium businesses should think about. So without sort of further ado, let's take questions in the order they have come. So how Hussain Bhai has asked this question: how to know which kind of packaging will be best for my product or brand?
Okay. So when you choose packaging, there are certain criteria to choose. One, you look for a packaging. First, you need to like what is your product, and when you have a product, so the one way to choose it, what is the shelf life you require, which is where it comes to the like where we say the functional packaging. And then second, it comes to the convenience. So let's say you want your consumer to pick up your product and travel. So you need to give a consideration that how can you make your packaging travel friendly. This is where. And then third, it comes to the do you want to include or have some experience through that. And this is where when we talk about experience, so you possibly want to have a QR code onto the packaging and ask consumer to scan it to see a video message which is possibly given by you, or maybe a video message which is talking about a certain recipe of that particular product. So how do I choose it which is good for my product? These are like I said, functionality, convenience, and experience. If you break it into three parts, you will get your answer that this is the best packaging for my product.
Got it. And I think a couple of questions have come on customization. So I'll club two questions.
Yes.
One is how to apply customization in packaging, and someone has also asked that or can it be done for one or two orders who would like their name on it?
Okay, so if you want to do a customization, you can do a customization even for a one pack. That is possible. Like you can have a name, but what we're talking about, the idea that making one pack sellable and then making that give you money. I'll give you example. Today, Cadbury does in India very beautifully, and they do it on HP. So what they do, they give you an option to personalize a chocolate, where you can go write a personal message for somebody, your friend birthday, and you can write a name on it. But in that, they ask you 150 rupees extra. if you have that power, you can certainly drive that. But let's say if you are a smaller brand, then the personalization idea would remain. Let's say there is a event, there is a festival which is coming, and you want to launch a special Eid pack, or you want to launch a special Diwali pack. So this is where it is more helpful, because you are not targeting only one person, you are targeting a group of people, and your product has a more possibility of selling that product in that particular.
Got it. Someone has asked this question that I have started a brass door handle business in UAE, and he wants to develop good packaging for it. Cost is very high, and minimum quantity is also high.
Correct. So if I understand correctly, these are the brass products which possibly might go as a souvenir, which might go as
I think it's a brass door handle. These are hardware products.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. So, can they develop in small quantities? Yes, certainly they can develop it. You should reach out to any one of our digital printer who has a capability of making these rigid boxes or these folding card boxes, and they can develop a solution as per your requirement. Certainly, we have arrangement where by the end of this presentation, we are going to share a detail. Who should you reach out, and then we can help them to connect with those people.
Got it. Now, there are questions in the lines of what are the options for digital printing? Do they offer low MOQ? I think the low MOQ part we covered. Someone has asked, please advise solution for branding my repackaged goods.
Sorry, repackaged goods.
Yeah. So
Like further.
again, so that's I think that's a sort of incomplete question to me, because on what lines are we repackaging? I think if we can get some context, that would be great.
Yeah, because people do repackaging to chocolate also, and people
Correct.
do products. So we need to know what product it is exactly, and
Correct.
because
Right.
example which I'm giving you guys of Cadbury, it is sort of repackaging. They
Yeah.
pick their regular chocolate, they pack it in a one box, and on that box they do the personalization. They are not doing the personalization onto the main product.
Agreed. Got it. Someone has asked this question that does a single machine allow for multiple use of labels, stickers to upgrade to soft pack printing? And are HP Indigo printers able to ingest multiple types of packaging with a single machine?
Yes, so please understand the workflow for packaging. So workflow packaging is printing, and then you have finishing, right? Actually, first is designing, then printing and finishing. And in the printing, there are two ways of printing. One is in the roll form and one is in the sheet form. So the material which are soft, let's say when I say the soft material like which goes for the chips packaging, those materials are run onto the roll form machine, and after printing those goes into the finishing machine where they make pouches. This is where it works. So can one machine do? Yes, one machine can do the printing of all those type of material. But still, to make a packaging, it depends of a packaging company what they are specialized for. If they are specialized for, let's say, for pouch making, they will print a pouch material and they will make a pouch out of it. But if the company is specialized in making a box, they will print a board material and they will make a box. But as per a technology capability, it can print any material from 12 micron and it can print up to 300 to 450 micron, which means we cover a lot of label material, we cover flexible packaging material, and we also cover the box making, those type of material.
Got it. Got it. So now there are questions on the lines of how is HP Indigo printer different from normal digital printing?
Okay, so like I said, I can define in three ways. One is
Yeah.
the quality. So when I say the quality, our structure of printing is similar to offset, where you transfer a ink to material, and it is not the ink which is transferred, it is the image. So first image is formed onto the blanket, and then image is transferred to the material, which means when image is getting transferred, this is already a dried image, so you have no issue onto there is some dots coming, dot issues there, ink is not transferring, so all those issues are eliminated and you get the quality like offset printing. The second, the printing quality differentiate on the basis of your ink capability. So today, HP has the largest color gamut, which is where you have white ink. We also have a Pantone color. So we guarantee around 92 to 97% of the Pantone color, which is where other technologies still struggle. And then again, it comes to your our digital color manufacturing capability, where HP has capability where we do manufacture certain colors like the Coca-Cola which I showed. This is the special color manufactured for the Coca-Cola. So with these capabilities, it makes us better. Of course, I'm not saying the other technologies are bad. They are certainly have their the strength, but this is where I would place HP a different from the other competition.
Got it. Okay, I'll club now a few questions. So we'll keep a hard stop at 5:45 Nepal, and probably post that. I'll also share the link of the feedback form in which all the questions can come in, and then we can get back to them in due course of time. Can we have print high GSM papers like 300, 400 GSM in HP? And also a sort of an add-on to that is, what is the kind of pricing structure we follow, and how much area is occupied for installation of, let's say, HP Indigo 15K digital press? So,
okay, so
use spectrum.
In terms of the capability of printing onto the thickness, so as a basic configuration, this 15K, let's say we're talking about 15K, it comes with the capability of printing up to 450 micron, where we are talking about around 300 GSM. But in that, the latest model which we have, and it's called HP Indigo 18K. This comes with the capability of printing even up to 650 micron. So it comes with a special upgrade, and 650 micron, when we are talking about somewhere around 400, 560, 570 GSM, something like that. How much space it does take, I can give you the exact one. It is somehow 11 feet to 23, 22 feet, but I need to look at my specification, because I'm more into the brand guy, and I'm not more so technical onto the product and installation guide. But I can share this detail later.
Got it.
I would love to connect this contact, because if I can sell press, nothing is better than.
Got it. And I think there are quite a few of them. Let me sort of pick the next one. So we have spice business, and we are yet to make our packaging. What are your tips for the first tip to take while designing our product pack?
Okay, so if you are still to design your packaging, I would certainly ask you to look at what is the consumer is looking today, and which is where we talk about the preferences of millennials and Gen Zs. Then I would consider the global packaging trends, where is sustainability, personalization, hyper localization, and origin. Because when you are coming with the spices, I think the greatest marketing which you can do it, that my spices coming from Kerala, like that, which gives you a lot of authenticity. Also explore the option of utilizing your packaging space to tell your story, not to clutter it, but simply putting a logo, and that logo is driving people to know more about your product. But at the same time, that logo also can drive you to their social media and all those things. Keep the color intact as the product, which is where, and the color psychology you will have to certainly study, and your designer or brand agency would have a more idea about it. But for the certain markets, there is certain color psychology. Let's say for the Europe, it is today like pastel color, minimal, all those things are working. So you certainly have to look at those trends as well.
Got it. I will take the next question. Can you give some ideas? Okay, we've taken this. What would you suggest for packaging for bath bombs, soaps, and bath salt?
Okay, so there are different takes on this, and it depends in what market you want to place your product. What I have seen, and the people are coming in this case, if it has to look very premium, what people are doing, they're packing on this bath soap paper, and they're putting some sort of let's say a box which is very premium high-end paper. That's the one way. That second one, even the bath soap and bath salt, these products also people are keeping some sort of a let's say the jar, and then the jar is designed very beautifully and then having a label on it. But today you also have a flexibility that packing them into one a small pouch, which is again printed nicely, matte finish there, some golden finish, and those all there. So completely depend on that what market you want to target, because luxury will always not help you. You possibly your market is not luxury market, and if your product starts looking luxury, then people again possibly have a apprehension that okay, it will be very costly. Should I go for this or not go for this? So it completely depends what market you want to target, and according to that, you can choose the form of packaging.
Got it. There are quite a bunch of still questions, but I think we'll go towards the closure of this webinar because we are, of course, time bound in certain way. So I have pasted a couple of links in the chat for everyone. There are two links. One is the link for the feedback form, which I urge everyone to fill as soon as the webinar is done, so that it'll help us gauge the effectiveness of this webinar. At the same time, if any of your questions which are unanswered in the live Q&A, you can paste those questions there again, and then we will get back to you. There are a couple of contacts also flashing on your screen. One is the official email ID of Mr. Naipal himself, and then from the DBohra side as well, we have a Spock Murtaza Bhai Munshi, who you can redirect any of your queries regarding today's session with respect to technicalities, with respect to seeking out of vendor connects, printer connects. Both email address and his phone number is displayed, so you can write on directly, reach out to him, and then he'll be more than happy to assist you. And there is another link which is pasted in the chat, that this webinar was brought to you by the coffee division of DBohra, and we have various activities, various offline, online sessions, newsletters, digests, and activities happening under the coffee division, which gets posted on this specific WhatsApp group. This group is created only for sharing updates regarding coffee division, so I would urge each and every one of you who is interested in that can join this WhatsApp group as well and stay updated. And last but not the least, please follow official communication channels of Umur Iqtisadiya, DBohra, to stay updated on all the sessions, webinar, podcast, and take benefit from it. Last but not the least, thank you so much, Naipal ji, for taking us to this beautiful session. I'm sure all of us learned quite a bit of stuff today, and we'll take advantage in short term, long term, and make sure that the packaging enhances from what it is today.
Certainly, I would love to be connected, and I would try my best to answer any queries which comes from you guys or comes from the community. So thank you so much, and I'm ready to help anyone who wants to transform their packaging. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And with that, we'll end this session. Appreciate everyone joining. Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you.
Thank you.